In 2013, a woman in Texas was convicted of murder, but there was no body, no witnesses, and not a single trace of evidence. No blood, no weapon, no confession. Still, she was sentenced to life. Her name was Linda Carter, and this is the story of how justice may have punished the wrong person, and how the truth was buried right beneath a church. Tonight, we reopen the church basement mystery. We'll retrace the night a beloved woman vanished, the lies that sent her friend to prison, and the shocking discovery that changed everything. Because in Brookdale, Texas, the church wasn't just a place of prayer, it was a crime scene waiting to be uncovered. Brookdale, a postcard-perfect Texas town where Sundays meant potlucks and everyone left their doors unlocked. At the heart of that small community stood St. Andrew's Church, and two women everyone trusted. Linda Carter, 43, the soft-spoken Sunday school teacher, and Nancy Bell, 38, her best friend and partner in every church event. They sang together in the choir. They led charity drives. They shared recipes and secrets. Until one April evening, when Nancy walked into that church basement and never came out. For weeks before the disappearance, people noticed something off. Whispers of missing donation funds, over $12,000 gone from the church account. Linda was the treasurer. Nancy was the one asking questions. Their friendship began to strain. Neighbors said they'd heard shouting behind the church one night. Nancy later told a friend, "I think Linda's hiding something." But when asked about it later, Linda said she and Nancy had already worked things out. Only one of them would get the chance to prove it. April 17th, 2013. Nancy and Linda volunteered to organize supplies for a food drive event. They were seen laughing as they carried boxes down to the basement around 7 p.m. By 10 p.m., the church was dark. Nancy's car was still parked outside, her purse, phone, and keys, all inside. But Nancy Bell was gone. When police arrived, the basement floor had been freshly scrubbed. Too clean, they said, almost sterile, and yet not one trace of blood, not a fingerprint, not a single sign of a struggle. Linda said Nancy left early, but she couldn't say where she went or why the lights turned off behind her. Detectives didn't have proof, only instinct, and in a town this small, instinct can convict. Investigators pulled footage from nearby gas station cameras. At 9:04 p.m., Linda's car was seen leaving the church parking lot. At 9:13, it returned. 9 minutes gone. When asked why, she said she forgot something at home. But police found no calls, no messages, no reason. That 9-minute window became the cornerstone of the prosecution. They claimed she drove Nancy's body out to the edge of town and came back to clean the scene. The only issue? There was no evidence Nancy ever died. Detectives searched every inch of Brookdale. They drained ponds, brought in cadaver dogs, even tore apart Linda's home. Walls, carpets, backyard, nothing. But under pressure from the town, the sheriff made a statement. Someone in this community knows what happened to Nancy Bell. All eyes turned to Linda. Her calmness was misread as guilt, her silence as confession. By summer, prosecutors charged her with murder in the first degree. The trial began that fall. The prosecution painted Linda as jealous, greedy, and manipulative, a woman who snapped when Nancy threatened to expose her. They told the jury she cleaned the basement with industrial bleach. But the defense dismantled every point. The so-called missing funds were later found in a mislabeled account. No trace of bleach was detected on the floor, and Linda's phone records showed she was home before midnight. Still, The jury didn't see doubt. They saw danger and fear. After just 6 hours of deliberation, the verdict came back. Guilty. Life in prison, no parole, no appeal granted. Linda looked at the judge and whispered, "You're burying the wrong woman." 6 months later, renovation crews arrived at St. Andrews to repair a burst pipe. When they tore up the basement floor, the jackhammer hit something hard: wood. Inside a sealed cavity, workers found an old wooden chest wrapped in tar paper. Inside, a purse, a Bible, a driver's license. The name on that license, Nancy Bell. But that wasn't the strangest part. Inside the Bible's front cover, written in her own handwriting, was a note. "If anything happens to me, it wasn't Linda." Detectives rushed to the scene. Finally, proof. But proof of what? There was no body, only artifacts. The blood on the Bible was human, but not Nancy's. Type B. Nancy had type O. The church records showed that part of the basement hadn't been renovated since 1994, 19 years earlier. So how did Nancy's things end up buried under concrete, poured almost 2 decades before she disappeared? Before police could announce their findings, an anonymous envelope arrived at the sheriff's office. Inside was a single note, typed in all caps. "Nancy isn't dead. She's hiding in plain sight." DNA from the envelope's seal was sent to the lab. When results came back, the sheriff called his team into the conference room. The DNA didn't match Linda. It didn't match Nancy's husband. It matched a woman who had been declared dead in 1997. If that's true, then Nancy Bell's disappearance wasn't the first mystery buried beneath St. Andrew's Church. And Linda Carter's conviction might not just be a mistake. It might be part of something much darker, a pattern the town of Brookdale has been hiding for decades. For the continuation of this story, follow Cold Case Stories, subscribe, and turn on the notification button to be notified when Part 2 drops